Well, good afternoon to you. Thank you for making time for us right here on K24 News. Let's begin by having a look at what is shipping news this afternoon. Life in camps for IDPs displaced by the recent floods becoming unbearable, with victims in Moinoni in Baringo County calling for relocation.
Mvua ikinyesha, pneumonia ndio hiyo, mbu ndio hiyo, maji inaingia, tunasimama mpaka asubuhi na watoto.
Ugandan President Yoweri Museveni begins his three-day state visit in Kenya, with bilateral talks set to take center stage on education, SME development, sports, youth, trade and investment. Plus, Budget Appropriation Committee raises the red flag over the graft in the issuance of capitation funds to junior secondary schools as tens of ghost schools allegedly benefit. Well, K24 News begins right now. I'm Alan Owino. Our sign language interpreter for this session is Walter Asere. Ugandan President Yoweri Museveni is today beginning his three-day state visit in Kenya after arriving yesterday. Now, Museveni is currently holding talks with his counterpart, President William Ruto, in State House, Nairobi. The visit follows the recently concluded second session of the Joint Ministerial Commission between Kenya and Uganda, during which 7 memoranda of understanding were signed in the areas of public service management, education, SME development, sports, youth, trade and investment. Our reporter Linda Koskei is at State House following the meeting and will be bringing you updates of the developments as when we receive them. Elsewhere, victims of the Mai Mahi floods tragedy are appealing for more support in kind as well as psychological counseling to help them rebuild their lives. The victims, who are camping in centers established by the government and others in rented homes within Naivasha constituency, claim that they are distressed by the tedious journey of the re-establishing and rebuilding of their lives after the catastrophic incident. Led by Paul Kiragu and Anne Wanjiru, while receiving donations from businessmen from the Mount Kenya region at Ngea Secondary School, the visibly shaken locals said that most of them have been reduced to paupers after losing all their properties to the floods. The April 29, 2024 tragic incident claimed the lives of at least 62 residents, including children, displaced hundreds of locals, and left a trail of destruction. As the country continues to reel from the effects of the heavy rains, it is a double tragedy in Baringo within IDPs in a camp where Moinoni camp decrying the harsh living conditions and are now calling for relocation. Let's get that report from our reporter Winnie Toitoek.
The Moinoni camp in Baringo North, hosting over 300 families displaced by insecurity in Saimosoi ward. According to these women, with the heavy rains, the lack of basic necessities and the risk of diseases like pneumonia for young children are among the challenges they are grappling with.
Mvua ikinyesha, pneumonia ndio hiyo, mbu ndio hiyo. Hata juzi mimi nimetoka hospitali juu ya pneumonia, mtoto wangu ameshikwa na pneumonia. Maji inaingia hapa, inajaa. Tunaishi kwa mahema ndani, maji inaingia, tunasimama mpaka asubuhi na watoto.
Through the support of the Center for Disaster Philanthropy, Forum for Women organization in collaboration with Koimugul Indigenous Women Network, recognizing the plight of these women and their families, embarked on a mission to offer humanitarian aid by distributing essentials ranging from foodstuffs to medication and baby items for expectant mothers. Though more support is still needed.
Wamama wanahangaika na watoto. So ninawaomba wahisani wengine kama mko na hiyo roho kusaidia, karibuni muinoanini tusaidiane. Watu wakuwa watu kwa sababu wako na imani ya kuwa in future watakuwa mahali pasuri.
Our target today here in this camp was to reach to 150 households, and of which we have been able to reach, but there is still more that is needed, especially in terms of foodstuffs and other things in the household.
Even with these challenges, the residents here are still calling for action and are hopeful that one day they will return home to live their normal lives. Winnie Tuitowek, K24.
Elsewhere, the Parliamentary Budget Appropriation Committee has raised red flags of a massive graft in the issuance of capitation funds to junior secondary schools. Now, this comes even as it emerged that tens of ghost schools are benefiting from the funds at the expense of registered schools, further crippling infrastructural development in public institutions.
The government has been called upon to crack a whip on rogue officials who are issuing capitation to fake schools. This emerged when members of the Parliamentary Budget Appropriation Committee toured Gilgil Town for public hearing session on the 2024-2025 proposed financial budget. According to Gilgil Member of Parliament Martha Wangari, learning in some of the schools had been paralyzed after their funds were diverted to what she termed as briefcase schools.
Kila saa nimepigia Waziri Mashogu, nikaongea na PS Belio Kipsang kuhusu mashule zetu ambazo hazijapata capitation. Mara mingi unapata Kigogo haina, mara hii ingine Mwega haina, kila saa tunasukuma. Tungeomba ilainishwe na hii mambo ya mashule gushi ambao wamehusika kwa hiyo wachukuliwe hatua. Sababu kama shule haiko, pesa inapelekwa wapi?
While calling upon the Cabinet Secretary for Education to act, the legislature has further noted how the current impasse has adversely affected public schools infrastructure.
Tunaomba Waziri Mashogu achukue hatua kwa wale ambao wanachukua pesa ya watoto wetu. Sababu shule yanapata very hard kulipa watoto wa BOM, walimu wa BOM, kulipa chakula, kulipa matumizi mengine ya shule. Unajua sasa tuko na CBC. Mwalimu anataka apate pesa ya photocopy, anataka apate pesa ya kuprint vitu ama kudownload na kuprint, hawezi kufanya hivyo. Kwa hivyo hii corruption iko Ministry of Education. Itolewe sababu tunacheza na kesho yetu.
The committee has however intimated on working on a supplementary budget targeting emergency funds for schools infrastructure damaged by rains.
Kuna pesa tunataka kuweka pia kwa supplementary kwa sababu unajua tuko na shida. So we are putting a budget for that. That is why we want to sit for supplementary ndio tuhakikishe pia masho za mashule. Unajua most of the toilets in schools ziliingia maji. So we are looking at that na hiyo ndio itakuwa priority yetu.
Bentura Kwamboka, K24 Newscast.
National Council of Churches of Kenya Secretary General Canon Chris Kenyanjui has decried lack of proper commitment by major stakeholders in the fight against illicit brews and other outlawed drug substances. Addressing religious leaders from member churches in the upper eastern counties of Marsabit, Isiolo, Meru and Tharaka Nithi during their annual regional convention that was held in Meru, Canon Kenyanjui noted that if indeed the government and other stakeholders included religious leaders and concerned members of public at the village level were fully committed to the cause, then the menace would be effectively dealt with in a short duration of time.
Maneno ya pombe, serikali ikisema iishe, itaisha na siku moja. Kwa sababu wale watu ambao wana brewing is called what in Kiswahili. Wale wanagema, ni wagemaji. Wale wanagema, hii pombe tunawajua. Kuna wale wanagema hapa polepole, hapa chini, but they are protected by our people who are in government and would like this protection to be taken away. Raia akuwe raia, kama anatengeneza kitu muhimu atengeneze. If it is something wrong, that license and that kiganda should be destroyed. And that is the way we are going to free our people from pombe. Maneno ya banki, maneno ya cocaine. We talked about cocaine here earlier. Heroin is increasing and so on.
Inton Junior Secondary School teachers have vowed not to resume duties until the Teachers Service Commission employs them on permanent and pensionable terms, and are currently holding demos in the capital to push for their demands. The Kenya Union of Post-Primary Teachers, KUPPET, has further backed the protests, saying JSS teachers are suffering owing to low wages. They've called on President William Ruto to intervene so that the teachers are confirmed in the next financial year with immediate effect. This comes after the court nullified TSC's illegal implementation of the internship post to teachers who are already qualified.
My name is Owino Kelo, the chairman, Nairobi County, and this is our statement and as JSS teachers. Number one, internship remains illegal, null and void. And any teacher who shall report to school in the name of this internship shall be deemed to have violated the court ruling. Number two, any threats from TSC administration should be reported to the national leadership immediately so that legal action can be taken against the perpetrators. Our demands are, as the JSS teachers, that we be confirmed into permanent and pensionable terms. Two, that all teachers that have served for this period must be compensated for the period that they have served. Thank you, and that is our statement.
Teachers RIA. We are saying this, that teachers are not going to class to be paid 17,000. Teachers can do better than 17,000. Teachers are poor. Teachers are mentally ill. Teachers are mentally disturbed. Yes. And therefore, these teachers are not going to class. And Kenyans, you can watch. You can see. I have here, these are teachers who should be teaching your students. But they are not there in class. They are here on the street to demand for their rights. And therefore, these teachers are not going to class until they are employed under permanent and pensionable terms. Moguls TV, Moguls Tialala, Moguls Ria. Our only one demand is confirmation. Even if it is coming next year, these Moguls are ready to wait. These teachers are ready to wait until next year that they will be confirmed as permanent and pensionable. But for now, we demand that teachers to be paid the amount that they deserve. The court ruled in our favor. The court ruled in the favor of the teachers that internship is illegal. And that is the reason why we are here on the street, that 17,000 is not enough to pay a graduate. These teachers will not go back to class until they are confirmed on permanent and pensionable.
Elsewhere, poor workmanship has been blamed for the collapse of toilets in schools across Embu County as a result of heavy rainfalls. This has emerged following an assessment done by the County Director of Education, Kosgei Kipruto, who confirmed that majority of collapsed toilets clearly point towards weak structural integrity. Speaking in his office, the director called on school managements to be more keen in construction works, as most of the schools had old toilets with poor foundations.
Going forward, we are also advising that they become more keen in construction, because we established that the collapse was not actually because of majorly on the rains alone, but because of poor workmanship, especially on very old toilets, which had very poor foundations, poor construction. We are going to have the meetings with our head teachers and our officers, so that we also emphasize on the need to supervise construction, especially on critical installations like those toilets in a way that will be able to withstand.
Kalinzoni residents in Malili, Makueni County are counting losses after the pounding waters swept their cattle and other belongings and are finding it hard to maneuver through their flooded compounds. The incident is alleged to have occurred after a spillway from a flooded quarry mine. The roads in the area have also been rendered impassable as some have been completely cut off, grinding to a halt transport and business operations.
Wanachimba hiyo mala kuna mahali maji imefungiwa, wameenda wakapasua upande mmoja, maji ikaflow mpaka kwa boma yetu, ikaingia, ikaharibu, ikamake gullies, kuna mifugo wako hapo, kuna mbuzi au mbuzi wengine wakandelemewa na maji, wakafa.
Tuko na shida barabara, si unaona watu walikuja wakambloko hii maji, wakambloko mto, wakairudisha mto kwa barabara. Barabara ikakuwa venye mnaona tu. Sasa shida yetu ni hao watu walimbloko hii nini, wakuja watutengenezea hii barabara juu tuko na shida.
Yetu tunachoomba ni kwamba hao ambao walifanya hayo sababu hawafai kutumia matilio kwa eneo hili na watu wachie njia yetu ikiwa vile iko kwa wakati huu. Tunaomba kama kuna njia ambayo yanaweza tumika, waje hapo watu tengenezee njia yetu ikuwe venye ilikuwa. Hata mkiangalia hii pipe ambao imefunguliwa hapa na hii maji, ni sababu tukiacha hivyo itakuja watu waikate waiuse kama scrap. Na itakuwa ni haina faida kwetu sababu tayari tumepewa tea na tuko na hizo pipes kwa nyumba tukingoja maji ingie. Sasa pipe ikikatwa inamaanisha tutakuwa na maji.
K24 News takes a break at this point, but we'll be back with more updates in a short while.